Hi, welcome back to my channel. This video I'm going to do another oil painting, and this one's going to be of a field of rapeseed with some sort of distant trees, and I wanted to make a really nice sort of fluffy cloudy sky, and I'll be using my brushes like this 1-inch brush. Also I'll be using the palette knife so you can see how I do that. So it's going to be an interesting little painting. It's going to be quite nice to watch, hopefully. So if you please watch to the end, give it a thumbs up, comments are welcome, and hopefully you do learn a few things from this video. So I started off with the bottom part of the painting. The sort of meadow is a mix of yellow, ochre and raw sienna, and then the top is mostly cerulean blue. And then for the clouds, I'm adding the sort of shadow tone first, so that's a mix of the ultramarine and a tiny bit of cad red and yellow ochre as well. I wanted to do the white parts of the cloud last, so that it's a process of building up layers. So I'm using this actually quite neat from the tube, and you'll see from using my brush I also start to use my finger just to get that soft blend of the fluffy clouds, give it that sort of look. So that's what I do, and you'll see that coming up. So you don't be scared of getting paint on your fingers. It does offer a nice technique. And now just adding a bit of a hedgerow to the distant horizon line, and this is done. I've added some of my French ultramarine and a bit of the yellow ochre, and just gone for that in a darker mix. And then with my hog hair brush, just adding in a couple of trees to the horizon line. I think one of the things I've got to point out really is this is an actual scene. It's actually a painting from Leisure Painter, which I do sometimes collect. And it was just one of the exercises, I guess, one of the workshops that was in the edition that I had. So I just wanted to do a quick simple painting, so I did use that as a reference. Although I'm not really copying all the techniques. Some of the techniques I wanted to try, you can see I'm adding some darker mix now to the rapeseed field, and this allows some of the shadows, some of the darker tones within the rapeseed. So I'm just using the palette knife for this, and it's quite a nice way to practice with the palette knife. If you're not familiar with using the palette knife, it's quite a versatile tool. You can do quite a few different techniques using the palette knife, but it's quite nice to get that overall sort of broad stroke. And I know that I'm working on paper, oil colour paper, so that there is a little bit of tooth, but it's not quite like a cotton canvas. So I would say that it probably would work out a little bit better for on the canvas rather than the paper. If you do have experience with oil colour paper and canvases, then please drop us a comment in the comment section. Let me know what you think. Do you like using the oil colour paper as opposed to the canvases? So you can see, once you put the first layer on, it sort of smoothens out the paper. You have the little sort of tooth, a little texture. It's actually cold press ash oil colour paper. And so once the first layer's gone down, it sort of smooths out the paper, and then it gives this, so you can't really get this texture, which I like to use on the knife. When you brush the knife across the canvas especially, you get this broken sort of effect, so it's less on this paper. But again, let me know what you think. If you do like this video so far, please give us a thumbs up. I do appreciate that, and I do appreciate all those wonderful comments I do get, all the support from all the subscribers that I do have. If you're not yet subscribed to my channel, then please do consider to subscribe. I do have many other ideas coming up. I'm just in an experimental stage of oil painting, because I do usually do more watercolors, but I do like to oil paint as well. It was something that I started after my after I started using watercolors. It was a friend of mine who sort of taught me into using oils. It is quite a lot easier to manage. It's quite a lot more forgiving. With oils, you can just continue to build up those layers until you get the right what you want. So it don't really matter how the painting starts off. You start off in a thin sort of layer using I like to use the sand soda. I used to use the Winsor & Newton turpentine, distilled turpentine, which was really strong smelling. Obviously something like that you have to use in a well ventilated area. It's quite strong, quite toxic, I guess. Not very nice to breathe in. So it's something that I've come across quite recently, the sand soda. It's odorless thinner, so I like to use that to get my first few layers in, especially my first layer. It's nice thin, and then I build up texture. Like you can see that I'm using the palette knife now. I'm just using neat paint straight from the tube, not really any sort of medium in that at all. So I'm not really concerned with any sort of blobs of paint. I think that really does add to the texture. It brings the foreground to the front, and then I've got the softer, more blended, more sort of flat colour in the background. So it's a smoother sort of transition from the texture on the front and then to the smooth and softer sort of background. So I think that really does work nice in this scene. I think the only thing that I would maybe change, it does work, but I think maybe I could have used a lighter yellow, sort of a brighter yellow, a lighter sort of look. But I think it does work overall as a composition. So let me know what you think in the comment section. And then I'm just using my rigger brush just to get in some trunks to the trees. Now I don't have a rigger brush for oil paints, so I'm using my watercolour liner brush, rigger brush, just to get those thin lines. So because it's a really soft brush, I'm using a bit of oil mixed in with the darker paint. So it's like an ink consistency, so it does come off the brush and give me what I need for branches. And then I'm just going to pop in some of those sort of sticks and twigs and stems in the foreground just to add just a little bit more texture and interest to the foreground. So I'm using my watercolour liner brush for that, rigger brush. So you can see what I'm doing with that, just pulling up through the paint. And there we go. Let's just have a closer look. You can see how smooth the background is, the trees, and you can see the clouds, how I've mixed those and blended those with my finger. And I wanted to get this shadow across the meadow of the clouds. And now you can see the texture in the foreground of the rapeseed field. So there you go. Hopefully you like that. Thanks for watching. Please give us a thumbs up, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care. Bye bye.